My name is Dr. Orly Panich from Potomac, Maryland. I'm a proud member of the Washington, D.C. board as the Doctors for Israel chair and a Sapphire and Negev Society member. First and foremost, I hope you and your family are healthy and well during this continued challenging time. On behalf of the Jewish National Fund and Doctors for Israel, I want to express our appreciation to each of you in the healthcare community who have been and continue to be on the front lines in fighting this pandemic. We are honored to gather today during Jewish Disabilities Awareness and Inclusion Month to share this program. In Israel, 1 million people have some form of disability that makes them struggle with life's daily activities. We believe that each and every Israeli deserves a life of dignity, belonging, and purpose. Person by person, family by family, and community by community, we are changing the lives of Israelis with disabilities. February is the month for you to double your impact. Thanks to the Bookbinder Family Foundation and the Feinberg Foundation, every gift this month made in support of Jewish Disabilities Awareness, Acceptance, and Inclusion Month will be matched up to $1 million. JNF is proud to support a more inclusive and loving community through our efforts to make sure that no member of Israeli society is left behind. When you donate, you are helping build a stronger, healthier, and more secure Israel for everyone, regardless of ability. Before I welcome today's guest speaker, I would like to share with you an important update from Jewish National Fund affiliate Negev, Nakhla, Tehran Rehabilitation Village, where Dr. Siev-Ner serves as the medical director. After many years of partnership with the ALE organization, the Negev Village and the Jerusalem Center are leaving the ALE network and moving forward under the name ADI. This change was necessary due to the differences in focus and direction that each center is taking in order to best serve the disability population that has always been our vision. Adi is the Hebrew word for radiant and multifaceted jewel. This new name reflects an expanded vision and broad scope of activities in the areas of rehabilitation, research, employment, education, community services, and tikkun olam. The building of the hospital is a major milestone in this mission. At the same time, we will continue to provide the same love and enhanced quality of life to people with complex disabilities. The activity on their behalf will continue to shine brightly, setting the standard for mutual responsibility and the love for every individual, especially the weak and vulnerable. The strength of the societal chain will always be measured by the strength of its weakest link. Through the efforts we exert to strengthen that chain, we ourselves become better people and create a stronger society. It will be a real jewel for the Negev and its entire population. I'd like to pause now and show you a video.
Adi Negev Nakhla Tehran is a state-of-the-art rehabilitative village in Israel's south that was founded in memory of Eran Almog, the late son of Didi and Major General in Reserve Doron Almog. Fueled by his love for Eran, who was born with severe autism and intellectual disabilities, Doron Almog guided the creation of this expensive residential and rehabilitative complex, which provides ongoing specialized care, including every possible treatment and therapy for children, adolescents, and adults with severe disabilities, as well as a host of rehabilitative solutions for individuals from all backgrounds and levels of need. With 160 residents and 140 special education students, and providing more than 4,500 rehabilitative outpatient treatments every month, Adi Negev Nakhla Tehran is the largest rehabilitative community in Israel. The village significantly impacts the growth of the Negev region, attracting people from across Israel for employment and volunteering. At present, Adi Negev Nakhla Tehran employs over 500 professional staff and welcomes more than 800 volunteers each year. Thanks to a strong partnership with JNF USA, more than 20,000 international guests have visited the village since 2004, and more than $35 million has been raised in JNF-related donations. We are presently in the final stages of construction for the Adi Negev Nakhla Tehran Neuro-Orthopedic Rehabilitative Hospital, the Negev's first ever rehabilitation hospital. Slated for completion in 2021, this cutting-edge $80 million project is a joint initiative of the Israeli government and JNF USA. The hospital, which will feature 108 rehabilitative hospital beds and Israel's first Translational Research Institute, will increase the number of Israel's rehabilitative hospital beds dramatically, bring quality care to the residents of the South, and create more housing and jobs in the Negev. Through partnerships with Ben Gurion University, the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, Johns Hopkins University, the Sheba Medical Center, the Weizmann Institute, and the Urbid University in Jordan, researchers at the hospital will study the trauma and recovery of everything from car accidents to COVID-19. In addition to enhancing care at Adi Negev Nakhla Tehran through the immediate implementation of research findings, the research will be shared with hospitals across the country and around the world to improve global best practices. Additionally, residential housing for employees, volunteers, and students is under construction in close proximity to the hospital. Within a decade, Adi Negev Nakhla Tehran will be a holistic center comprising the rehabilitation village and hospital, an international research center, and Merchavei Daniel, an inclusive town of 600 families who will welcome and embrace the village's residents as the heart and soul of their community.
And now it is my honor to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Siev-Ner, Medical Director at Adi Negev. Dr. Siev-Ner is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon specializing in physical medicine and rehabilitation. Since 2017, he has served as the director of the Rehabilitation Division in the Israeli Ministry of Health, as well as the medical director of the JNF affiliate Adi Negev, Nakhla Tehran Rehabilitation Hospital. His department has led efforts to treat most of Israel's war and terror casualties, in addition to providing long-term care for Israeli military veterans. He has held leadership roles with Israel's Ministry of Health and the Israel Medical Association. Since 2004, he has also served as chairman of the Israeli Society for Diabetic Foot and Wound Care. He currently supervises the doctor's assignments for the corona crisis. And with that, Dr. Siev-Ner, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Orly Panich, for the kind introduction. Shalom, Dr. Seymour Reif, the chairman of Doctors for Israel, and all the members of Doctors for Israel. I'm happy to host you here in the Adi Negev facility, which includes both the village as well as the hospital. I would like to share with you the great changes that occurred here in the last few years. I don't like to speak about revolutions. I would rather refer to evolutions, but there is really a process which is a game changer in this area of the Western Negev. Until about 5 years ago, there was not even one single bed of rehabilitation in the Negev. The Negev is in the periphery of Israel, and although it inhabits a significant amount of population, certain services were lacking here. So a few years ago, Doron Almog approached me on my capacity as the director of the National Council for Rehabilitation in the Ministry of Health. And he asked me, what do I think about a rehabilitation hospital in the Negev? I said, well, great. That's a wonderful, brilliant idea. We need those beds. The population in the Negev deserves as good medical service and rehabilitation service as all the other people in Israel. And I would very much like to take part in that. However, I was concerned about how shall we bring skilled professionals to the periphery. And Doron obviously said, no problem, we shall construct housing for them, and we shall be attractive for the young generation. We shall give them jobs, and that will be also kind of social game changer to this מועצה אזורית מרחבים, to the Western Negev. So that's the beginning of all the story. And since then, we are all very excited in what we are doing here. Currently, I can say that we didn't want to wait until the construction of the hospital will be finished. And as such, we opened the first department 4 years ago, 28 beds of rehabilitation. And hopefully the coming August, which is very soon, we shall have the new hospital. So altogether, we shall have 3 departments of rehabilitation, and it will be the first and only rehabilitation hospital in the Negev. So I will just very briefly share with you what brought me here. Actually, I'm currently the director of the Division of Rehabilitation in the Ministry of Health of Israel. However, I made one condition with the general director of the ministry, that he will allow me to accompany the development and construction of this hospital. And very soon I will be full-time here when we open the new hospital. My background, I'm orthopedic surgeon and also board certified in physical medicine and rehab. And my goal is to bring the cutting edge rehabilitation to the population here in the Negev. You can look around and see that Adi Negev is the perfect environment because it is so peaceful. People in rehabilitation stay long periods, relatively, comparing to the acute care departments. Here they will stay few weeks and sometimes even few months. So we should ensure them to have a very peaceful mind and supportive environment to feel at home on one hand, and to be able to go out and enjoy the nature and to feel that the life, although has changed a little bit, but soon enough they will be integrated back to their family and to their natural environment to go home. In rehabilitation, the whole story is a multidisciplinary team, which is composed of physicians, specialists in physical medicine and rehab, nurses, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, communication clinicians, social workers, psychologists, dietitians, and many allied professions. So when we first started to plan this hospital, one of the very first steps was to make affiliation with the Faculty of Medicine in the Ben Gurion University, which is very close to us in Beersheba. Since then, again, before we even finished the construction, we already opened the first Translational Rehabilitation Laboratory, which serves as extension of the treatments, physical treatments to our patients, as well as a place of research where we have already few students for second degree, few students for PhD degree, and even a postdoc degrees. We also started collaboration with the Weizmann Institute, with the leading scientists in basic science. So the whole idea, usually, if I will compare it to general medicine and to the pharmacological industry, it takes time between the development of something and the implementation of it. This is even more significant when we speak about technologies. However, in rehabilitation, there were no big breakthroughs in medications. Technology has made the whole difference in rehabilitation, and that is expected also to be the future in rehabilitation. Having said that, we put emphasis on developing the cutting edge technologies that will enable us to give the best treatment for our patients. Now, these days in rehabilitation, we speak about brain plasticity, for instance. So we engage augmented reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, as well as robotics. Those technologies can mimic the real life because we have found in the studies that the exercises in physiotherapy, in occupational therapy, in all the other uh, therapies, when it has significance, it's not just repetition of a certain movement for 30 times, but when it comes together with the meaning, if it's a meaningful action that they will use it in the real life when they return home, the rehabilitation is more robust, quicker, better, and they achieve more. So by those technologies, we can assure them to practice alongside with one-to-one touch, human touch with low tech, which we don't give up, don't misunderstand me, but we add the technologies in order to take it one step forward and give the best chances for the people to participate back to life. The corona pandemic surprised not only us, but I would say the whole globe. And I wonder what we would have done if we didn't have that rehabilitation department here in the Negev. The corona, the people who recovered from corona suffer from long-term symptoms, including cognitive changes, memory problems, executive functions, and memory, as well as emotional problems, more depression, more anxiety, and PTSD. Not to mention muscle weakness that gets sometimes to the degree that patients can't get up from a chair or from the bed. They are equal to paraplegic or quadriplegics. Swallowing problems, smell, taste, and many other problems, not to mention the lung problems, breathing. Now that we have the department, we can accept patients that recovered from the corona because in Israel, unfortunately, the dimension of the pandemic is pretty high. Nevertheless, the mortality rate is relatively low. That means that the medicine is a high level medicine, but once we manage to save those patients and prevent their fatal um, destiny if not treated well, our duty is also to give quality to life. When you save life, you want to give quality to life, and this is the rehabilitation. So since there are more and more patients, there is a high pressure to accept patients that recovered from the corona and have severe symptoms. We are discussing mainly the severely ill patients. Had we have more beds and had the other department been ready, we would definitely we could definitely use them, but still the existing department makes a difference in our ability to accept these patients. The other populations that are treated here on a regular basis are stroke patients and many other degenerative neurologic conditions like Parkinson, like ALS, like other conditions, and of course, traumatic brain injury. And the other big population is the orthopedic patients with multiple fractures, with burns, with amputations. So we are developing a team that will be specializing in certain areas. And this is the advantage of a rehabilitation hospital comparing to a department of general rehabilitation in a general hospital. Here, with the specialization of neurologic, orthopedic, geriatric, we can develop the skills of the therapists to the highest level. And together with the advanced technologies, which we adapt, we can give them the cutting edge rehabilitation treatments, not only as good as in the center of Israel, but humbly, maybe even better. As rehabilitation is all about function, we encourage our patients to participate in horticultura, growing plants, preparing gardens. So we have the greenhouses as well as the open space, plant and agriculture. We are lucky to have the horses, which we use for different reasons. First of all, emotional, to relate to animals and to get the love, but also to develop the skills of balance, of riding. Maybe those who can't walk can enjoy riding the horse. And we have also the animals over there, which are playing a very important role in the emotional treatments for our patients. As the people of Israel, upon receiving the Torah in Mount Sinai, said, "Na'aseh v'nishma," meaning first we shall do, and then we shall hear, which is, you will need to agree with me that it is very atypical to Jews, because we like to argue. Nevertheless, that's what we are doing here. We didn't wait until the new hospital will be ready, and we just took advantage of an existing building in the village, and we turned it in no time to a rehabilitation department where we host 28 patients since 4 years. Again, this is a game changer in the Negev. Physiotherapy is a very important component in the rehabilitation process. Again, this is temporary until we have the new building. Nevertheless, the space is less important. The skill of the human resources, which we are blessed to have the very best physiotherapists, occupational therapists, communication clinicians, social workers, psychologists. We are really lucky to have them here, and we shall have many more by having the accommodation to bring young families and to build a professional community here in Adi Negev. We are in the occupational therapy section, and the focus is, of course, on ADL, activities of daily living. We teach the patients how to adapt with their disabilities, how to get to the highest level of independence and be able to participate in the house skills. We have here in Adi Negev ambulatory rehabilitation, which can, as for now, we can have about 90 patients at a given time, not all of them together, of course. They come between 3 to 5 times a week. Those are patients that don't need anymore the inpatient facility. They are back home, but this is a continuation of care. We do emphasize the continuation of care. So when they are discharged from the inpatient department, they can continue here in the daycare. People are coming from Dimona, from Arad, from Be'er Sheva, Shderot, Netivot, from all over this area. Again, as we have a shortage of ambulatory rehabilitation facilities, Adi Negev is one of the leading one in the southern part of Israel. The fruit of the affiliation to the Ben Gurion University Faculty of Medicine is this translational laboratory. We are working in collaboration with Professor John Krakauer from Johns Hopkins University. And actually, he chose us to be the first site out of the United States to implement his virtual reality system, which we use now for research as well as for treatments. But the idea is that in the new departments that will be ready in August, in the coming August, some rooms will be equipped with big screens with the scenarios of the virtual reality so that patients can exercise long hours after the activity in physiotherapy, occupational therapy. They usually spend many, many hours in the afternoons and evenings, have no activity, so they will be able to continue their exercises in bed, in the room, and we can work on special. It's not only adding quantity and quality, but this is again exercising the robust rehabilitation so that they can heal faster. Their brain plasticity will contribute to the return to higher levels of activity. This system is the Zebris, where we can actually neutralize body weight. It's a treadmill with sensors, so we can actually measure how much a pressure they put on while walking. We can exercise them walking. We can visualize with 3 video cameras, and they participate in certain scenarios. So it's interactive. It's not they are just walking, but they are exercising activities of daily living, like walking in different terrains and doing things at home. So this is the translational laboratory with the aim of transferring the knowledge from the development to the everyday's life. The whole idea is that the clinicians are coming with unmet solutions. They address needs for the patients. The scientists develop certain technologies. They can immediately examine them here, correct, and the continuous dialogue between the clinicians and the scientists are very fruitful because we can focus on what is practical and not wait years until it comes from the laboratory, from the science, from the university to the patients, but immediately we implement it here with our patients. After visiting certain parts of the existing hospital and village and the facilities we have, I would like to share with you the vision of what is going to happen very soon. So just for orientation, this is the existing village where we have 165 residents that live here and will live here for the end of their life. This is the education center for the residents as well as for people with disabilities that are coming from all over the area. And this is the new hospital under construction that is expected to be ready in August 21. The entrance will be through here. This will be the neurological rehabilitation department, and this is the orthopedic. The neurological department will be partially fortified against missiles and rockets. It is true that we signed a peace agreement with Switzerland and Liechtenstein, yet in the unlikely events that we shall have rockets and missiles here in this area, we shall be able to have 72 patients in this department. So we shall remove the patients from the other department, and we won't need to discharge them in any critical situation. This is the physiotherapy department, and this is the occupational therapy. Both will have also rooms for social workers and communication therapy and psychologists. This is the sports hall. It will be a place that will serve both as treatment area. We can have few patients together interacting between themselves and with the therapist. Also, not only to have a treatment environment, but to give them the feeling that they are equal to able-bodied people and that they participate in sports like other people. We shall also have a gym, again, to give them the feeling that they are able like everyone else, and also to enlarge the scope of the treatments to empower them to be able to work by themselves under supervision. We shall also have a cafeteria, synagogue, and so on. This is the neighborhood that is under construction. Actually, the first buildings will be ready next week. And this will be a place to host the volunteers of the village and the hospital, as well as workers in the hospital. In such a way, we can be attractive for young professional people to come to join us. We shall be able to give jobs to many people in this area and to bring high-level people to make this area stronger, because we have many towns around us, and we shall be able to merge all of them together. On this area, we are going to have a 500 units. It will be called Merchavei Daniel, and this will be a community center. זה צריך לערוך את זה. איך אומרים יישוב קהילתי? זה settlement, זה נשמע כמו בשטחים.
Housing.
זה כמו כפר, מושב.
Communal living? No.
The surrounding area will serve to build a community that will host, actually not host, people will live here, but we shall allocate at least 15 units out of 500 units for people with disabilities to integrate them in the community and to allow them to live independent life within a healthy community. And this area is designated to build the teaching and research center. The auditorium of the teaching center will serve as the theater, music, cinema for all the community around. So this is how we are going to maintain the connections, the bonding between the village, the hospital, the community around. And here we shall be able to enlarge the very fruitful activity that we already started with the Faculty of Medicine in Ben-Gurion University, as well as with the Weizmann Institute. We are about to start two projects, one about the biological cycle of the patients within the hospital, which is the goal is to reach a personalized medicine and to give special attention to each and every patient according to his biological cycle. And the second project will be artificial intelligence, how to integrate all the information, the clinical information as well as the research information together and to grow together with them. So the potential is excellent. We are very excited about what's happening here. And I do invite you all to come and visit us. Thank you for the support that you are giving us all those years in the past and in the present. And we look forward to see you here soon.
Wow, thank you. It's truly remarkable and inspiring to hear about the impact Adi Negev is making in improving the lives of all Israelis. My name is Dr. Seymour Reif from Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm a past president and member of the Desert States Board of Directors of Jewish National Fund on the Arad Task Force, and I'm proud to be the new National Doctors for Israel Chair. As members of Doctors for Israel, we have so much to be proud of and even more to accomplish. It's an honor to lead this extraordinary group of individuals. All of us here today are already donors to Jewish National Fund, but knowing what we now know about JNF's impact, I'd like to invite you to join me in making a special needs gift to translate our vision into results. Every dollar you pledge today and throughout the rest of the month for services addressing the needs of people with special needs will be matched dollar for dollar. I also invite you to please save the date for our next program in the DFI lecture series on Wednesday, June 23rd at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring a panel of medical researchers, Dr. Neva Bloom and Dr. Rivki Ophir from the Central Arava R&D Center. This will be entitled Medical Miracles in the Arava. Registration is open and more information can be found at jnf.org/DFI lecture series. Our vision for Israel is clear, and one day the vision we share with Dr. Siev-Ner of a Jewish state where all people have the chance to excel and be included with others will come true. Thank you for spending this time with us. Please encourage your friends and colleagues in the medical field to join you as a member of DFI. It requires a minimum donation of $1,000. Please do not hesitate to be in touch with me with any questions, concerns, comments, or feedback at doctors@jnf.org. Thank you.
70 שנה במכונית, אני נוסע